Hi, it's Amelie, and welcome to Just Practicing. So today we're going to do Fantasy number 6 by Telemann, because we're in this series of Telemann. There are 12 fantasies that I have recorded, and I also have my own edition of it. And so now I'm doing a Just Practicing of each one of them to complete this project. And so if you're interested in getting the recording, it's on our website, musogy.com, musogy.com. And on that website, you also have our methods, a beginner method and an intermediate method, that both have videos, a PDF, and MP3s. There's some recordings. So, yeah, you can go and check that out. We've had a lot of good comments on it. Yeah. Okay. Fantasy number 6. It's in D minor. Just 1 second. Just see if I'm. Maybe a bit more in. Okay. The first movement, dolce, means soft. So, it's slow and expressive. There are two. You play it twice. Each section is played twice. There's repeats, and so on the repeat, I have written my own ornaments. So, if you have my version, if you have my edition, you can play those when you play the repeat, so that it makes it a bit different. You can also invent your own. You can listen to different recordings, see what people are doing, and get inspired by that. It's not the composer that wrote it, so it's just me. It's called an Ossia. Ossia. It's Italian. Okay. And you see now I'm repeating that first part. You'll notice I say it every time we do one of those, but it's important that I don't vibrate a lot. I barely vibrate. I honestly try not to, but sometimes if I feel like it sounds a little bit dull, I add a little bit of vibrato on some notes, but it's not the same type of vibrato as if it was romantic music. Like, you wouldn't play it like this. Like, let's say the last line of that first part, if I played it romantic, it would go. That's not really the style that I'm trying to get here. So you can hear the difference if we were playing something that's more recent, not Baroque music. That might be a vibrato that you want to use, but not in that style. Now I'll do the first part again, but as the second time. And if you have questions, since it's a live stream, you can put comments and questions.
Yeah, we have a couple of general questions, but we'll answer those
at the end.
Of the show.
Yeah. I'm trying to get a nice low D. I feel feel like low notes are important because you don't have another instrument playing a bass. So like your bass notes, the bass is the guide. That's what we always say in harmony. The bass is the guide. So you want those to really resonate and be in tune because they might be a bit low. So it's important to try to adjust that. And so it's good sometimes to practice with a tuner. There's apps, you know, just to have a little eye on, oh, this is the tendency of my instrument. It doesn't mean that you don't listen to yourself, but at least it gives you also a visual cue. And also you'll notice that the bass is often on the first beat of the measure because that's a strong beat. So like it's there's a reason for that. So I'll start on the anacrusis of 44, the last beat of 43. And you see, I try to make it sound really improvised, you know, and really like, it's not every note that's pushed, you know what I mean? Like it's not no, it's like this. Like let's say the last one is D, and then I just I'll get to the F. So try to identify the notes that you want to come out more. The other ones, just let them trickle there. Same spot. When you have that beat, ta-da-dum, ta-da-dum, like at measure 29 or at measure, oh, I think I was saying the wrong measure earlier. It's not a big deal. Or measure 18, I think. Well, if you see that, you can think about it almost as an ornament. Da-da-da, dee-da-da, dee-da-da. It's on the beat, but you go as fast as you can to the third note and you just stay on that one. And you see that the structure is really like the pillars are on the first beats. So I'll do the second time with the, you know, with the ornaments, and try to pay attention when you play it. Like I said, it's so important to know which notes you want to come out more and which notes you want to be passing tones, you know, and understanding a little bit the phrasing. piece. I really like that one. And I had another thing. Yeah, when you want to breathe, because it's you need to breathe. And I would say try to breathe after a long note, like a quarter note or dotted quarter, something like that, so it doesn't sound like you're cutting anything. You just play. Let's say instead of the full full quarter note, you play an 8 note. You breathe an 8 note, and you're not disturbing the rhythm either. So, Allegro now. That's what I like also about Telemann Fantasias, is that in a short piece, you have those short movements, you know, that that are all very contrasting. So you get to play fast and slow and have some more expressive things and more virtuosic. Is that how you say that? Yeah. Okay, so I'll try this. You know what? I'll play it with a metronome once per quarter note, just so you can hear. And then I'll play it a little bit faster without the metronome, I guess. Maybe just to warm up at 100. When you learn it, maybe you'll start at 60. Maybe you'll start at 50. It's all good. Don't try to learn everything at once. And try to be in tune, you know, with your attention. You know, be like, oh, I'm a bit tired, I need a break, or things like that when you practice. You know, and so that, and maybe learn a little section at a time, so you learn the right notes right away. And when you feel like your attention is not there, take a break, come back. And if you learned 2 lines one day, you learn 2 lines, and the next day you go and you learn the next 2. But it's better to learn them very well than to kind of learn them and then have mistakes, but you did the whole page, you know. More in the quality than the quantity, and in time it's more efficient. 3, 4. Whoops, sorry. I forgot there's a B natural. I'll start from that measure. You see here, you have 2 lines. It's as if 2 flutes were answering each other. You have one that goes, the other one plays. Okay, so oh, I forgot my metronome. 3, 4. And here you see I put an asaya because, oh, why not, you know, make a little extra little thing. Okay, so that thing that you see, you start on the second beat. For very beginning, second beat, you go. That's kind of your beginning theme. Then you get that at other moments. Like let's say measure 9, 11. And then you get it at 13, 14, 15 on the last beat. It's just, it starts on the 4th beat instead of the 2nd, but it's the same thing here. And 15 and 16. And then you get it again at 25. Okay, so that's important. It's a theme. So let's say at 25, the first beat, the D, it belongs to what was before, but then that third octave D belongs to what's next. Like the phrasing and the music doesn't stop at the bar line. You know, sometimes the phrase ends just after the bar line. Very often, indeed, in fact, you know. I'll go back from 22. Wait. Ah, yeah. You see here again, it's two flutists answering each other. There's one that goes, the other one, the other one, the first one, second one, first one, second one, first one, and then we're getting to the big cadence at the end. Okay, so yeah, and I try to when there's two flutes like that, you know, two characters, I try to give them different timbres, a little bit of a different color, you know. So that if someone is paying attention, they might notice that, you know, and it's nice. I'll play one last time. Oh yeah. I think also that when you play it at the beginning, you should always subdivide. You might even want to start thinking it per 8 note if you have to, and then per quarter note. But with time, you want to feel it as a 2-2, I think. 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 da da dum bum 2 bum bum 1 da di bum bum ba da 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 di da di dum bum ba da 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 dum bum bum. Because when we group beats like that, it helps with the phrasing a lot. So yeah. Oops, sorry. Nice. And then we have the Spirituoso. It's a 3-2. So it's a simple measure. It's not a compound measure. It's 3 beats of it's 3 beats of half notes. it can look like a 6/4 because the 6/4 is 2 beats of dotted half notes. If it was a 3/4, 6/4, it would go da di da ba dum bum bum ba dum ba dum ba da da di da bum bi dum ba dum bum ba dum ba da da bum bum. But it's a 3/2, so da di dum ba dum bum bum ba da di da 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 bum bi dum ba dum bum bum ba da di da bum bum bum. But sometimes, if you feel like it, you can do a hemioli. It's when you group something in 3 and it's written in 4. And I think in that, you could do that in some spots. So, you know, what you could start by doing is thinking of every beat like as if it was, you just feel every quarter note. So let's see. Let's see if I'll play it once slowly a bit like that. On the last note, on the Asaya, there's a little squiggly line with a dash in it, a little other line in it, and that means it's inverted mordant. So you do D, then C sharp, then D. Little trick when you do C sharp and D, like that, instead of doing the real C sharp fingering, like real, whatever real is, like this, you can use your 3 middle fingers, those 3 fingers here on the right hand. So this way you do D, you don't touch your right hand, you don't do anything with your right hand, you just remove the left hand fingers and you put them back. It's easier than, there's less chance of a little blip happening. Now let's do it per half note. Let's try it 120. taking a little bit more time because it's a half cadence. You know, you finish on the dominant chord. There's no chord, but that's what's that's what would be there if there was a chord. That's what's happening in the harmony. And so it's fun to kind of stop on it. So like, oh, because it can't be finished there. It's like, so I like to add a little bit of time there. Yes, I'll play it once without a metronome, just for fun. I want to say two things, so I forgot. When I play that and I want to be more musical, here I think of one beat per measure. But inside that beat, I feel the subdivisions. First thing. Second things, all the dynamics that are in my edition are just my dynamics. You can change them, you can ignore them. And they're more like little ideas of, oh, here you could change the color to make it interesting. But there were no dynamics per se at that time. So don't stress too much about that. Okay. So that's it for this piece. Did anyone have questions?
Yeah, just questions in general. Some people are asking about. Okay, there was a good question at the beginning. Oh, do you have tips on low notes? Marku wants to know tips on low notes. How to play low notes more loudly on the flute.
Okay. I would say first thing, use vowels. Use different vowels for different registers and also colors that you want to get. So if you want something more with more timbre in the low register, you want to use more that opens the back of the mouth. And also, so start with that. Let's say I go on a G. I go down with ah. I think I have to bring my flute to the technician. And so that's the thing there. Then you can also use the nose a little bit, going yeah. This way you'll get a little bit of the yeah, very nasal sound, a bit like a, you know, it gives it a little extra. So that helps. That's in general. Make sure that in the low register you're not covering the embouchure, because sometimes we tend to do this. We go high, we lift the head, we go low, we lower the head, then we are not in the right angle anymore to get a sound. So when you do move your head up and down, make sure that the angle here stays the same and it's not being affected, because it's going to affect the quality of sound, but also the intonation a lot. It's going to change the intonation a lot, because look, if I change the angle here, and the low register is already a little bit flat. So if you're flat and you do that on top of it, it's going to be very flat. So that's one thing that sometimes I see people do. For the low register. And the low register is also a little bit slower to react because you have to fill out the whole tube. And so I would say anticipate a little bit when you play the low notes and work on your articulation, because the articulation is the beginning of the sound. So you want to have a good beginning of the sound. So working on first just all slurred, then with a little air push, then work on your single tonguing in the low notes, making sure it's clear, and comparing it. And then once you're good with the ta, then you do the ka, and then you do the double tonguing. But working on articulation on the low notes, it's also a very good thing to do. So I hope that helps.
Furry Kitten wants to know, would an accent change the timbre of the outcome due to the nasal resonance?
An accent.
No, I guess.
Yeah, an accent will change the beginning of the note, because it's an articulation.
Change the timbre? You'll change the timbre, you mean? Because he asked, does it
Well,
change the timbre?
yeah, I was getting there.
Oh, okay.
So an accent will change. Like the accent is mainly on the beginning of the note, but a lot of the timbre comes from the beginning of the note. And also it's a change in dynamic, basically. It looks like when you look at it, it looks like a decrescendo. So basically you're doing kind of a very fast decrescendo, and like let's say if I was doing that with an accent on the first beat of every measure, and so that's basically what an accent is. A little bit louder, a little bit ta da 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 da. Yeah, and you give it a little bit more of an attack as well. But remember that when we say attack, like the sound starts when the tongue is removed, not when the tongue hits. So don't leave the tongue there too long.
Yeah. And last question is, how do you deal with times of being burnt out? Playing the flute, I guess.
How do you deal with when you're burnt out?
Well, it's a normal feeling.
It's a normal feeling. Maybe you need to go and do something else, Maybe try to have times when you're not thinking about the flute. I don't know if you're, let's say, a university student in flute, or someone who's really dedicated to flute, and sometimes our lives revolve too much around one thing. We're always thinking about that. So also our brain is making us tired. So maybe making sure we have time for other activities where we don't feel guilty that we're doing those activities and not being practicing, so that you're doing one thing when you're doing that thing, and then when you're with your friends, or enjoying life, cooking, whatever, watching a show, you're just doing that and you're not feeling bad about it. Because maybe set realistic goals for yourself. Maybe you need to organize your practice in a way that you make sure you have one day of break at least a week where you don't play, and then let's say you practice this amount of time, and that it's realistic for you, and then when that's done, you're very proud of yourself and you go towards something else. But you can also just don't play for a little while. You're not going to forget how to play. Sometimes we're taught that, you need to warm up 2 hours every day or you won't sound good anymore. I think it depends on the people. I don't feel like it's the case for me. I like warming up, but if I don't have time, like I have a short warm up that I can do, and if I don't even have time for that, I'll manage. I know how to play the flute. I've played thousands of hours. I'm not going to forget, you know what I mean? Like, it's about the attitude too, that we put a lot of stress on ourselves and on our students, that maybe is not helpful. I hope this helps. I don't know the specific situation.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. But to go back to the other thing about the accent, the accent in the timbre of the timbre.
Yeah.
They wanted to follow up and saying that they meant I was using an accent in the linguistic sense as opposed to purely the musical sense as resonance as a part of it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I would guess so.
Mm.
I would guess that the language you speak would have an impact, and your voice, because it's all the same resonators. And oh yeah, and also like for tonguing, some languages use some types of T's and other languages different types of T's, and so it's going to be a bit different. And if you like, let's say the also the flutter tonguing, if you speak English and you've never done r, and you always do R's like R without using your throat, then flutter tonguing might be a bit more difficult. You know, going r. You know, stuff like that. But yeah, and also even like in some places, let's say here in Quebec where I live, people I think have a voice that's a bit lower than in France. Let's say in France people speak a little bit higher pitched, you know, and it also changes that, you know, the voices that we hear when we're children, and how we place our voice. It's different from one country to the other, I think, and from the language you speak. Yeah, that's interesting. I'm not a specialist, but yeah, I think it does have an impact.
And do you want to talk about the Hawaiian Flute Society, I think?
Oh, yes. So on February 8th, I will be giving an online workshop at the Hawaii Flute Society. I'm super excited about that. It's online. I'm not going to Hawaii. Maybe one day. That would be amazing. And so, yeah.
Link is in the description.
Yeah, the link is in the description. And
how to register, it's all there, and it's run by them. And
okay, so yeah, how to register and everything, it's all in the description below. And it's run by the Flute Society and Hawaiian Flute Society. And so there's that. And also there's our website musigi.com where you can find the album and the methods and all that stuff. And there's other stuff coming soon. And there's our Patreon where you can get all our videos without ads and be our patron, which is very nice. Thank you to everyone who's a patron.
Also, let's thank Lance Suzuki.
Oh, and thanks to Lance Suzuki, who invited me to do the flute workshop for the Hawaiian Flute Society, because he has
his own channel too.
Yeah, he has a great channel, Lance Suzuki. So I'm sure you guys know him. And what else? There's some merch, some shirts and mugs and leggings, and there's our very nice poster with all the fingerings, trill fingerings, and all that stuff.
It's gonna be on the wall soon, hopefully.
Yeah, we'll put it on our wall.
Yeah, somewhere. Yeah.
And I think that's it.
Yep.
And I give flute lessons. If you're interested, just email us at info@theflutechannel.com. And you just email us about that, and we'll give you all the detail of how it works to have lessons online with me. So I hope this was helpful, and have a very nice end of the day. Bye bye.